But it's very preliminary, and as you know, there's a lot of challenges, unfortunately, with that area. There's challenges because of the intersection being IDOT and Lake County DOT, and stormwater retention, et cetera, et cetera. But we have an exploratory meeting, and so everybody has their homework to do, and we'll come back to the table. And we will know shortly whether that can progress or if it's not going to be economically feasible because of those challenges. That's the big question we're trying to answer right now. And you know, bottom line is there has to be improvements made to that intersection to properly accommodate everything.
It would probably work if we put a roundabout there.
Yeah.
Popping up in Wisconsin like dandelions.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, every two-lane highway in northeastern Wisconsin's got half a dozen roundabouts.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's Wisconsin DOT's way of fixing intersections and stoplights.
Okay, then. Okay. Just one final little note. You know, we switched to quarterly birthday cakes. We only had one birthday. We only had one birthday this last quarter, but I want to say happy birthday to Wally Crease. I called him on his birthday, which was March 9th, but I have to tell you, Wally, your cake got bumped to the next quarter.
Oh, well. So you're
Not only to save money, we didn't want anybody to say, why does Wally get his own cake?
While they don't do get out in the parking lot.
I just didn't want to bake it. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to standing committees now. Finance, Trustee Daley.
I'll defer to new business.
Okay. Public Works, Trustee Washington.
I really don't have a whole lot to say except enjoy the weather.
Everybody go out and pick up the trash.
That too. That would help.
Public Safety, Trustee Crease.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Jerry Bailey got a call from Pace, I believe, about this shelter that we were looking at putting on the eastbound side of 120, and they said that they will not put a shelter up there due to the fact that it has some future development coming through there or something, or upgrades for that intersection. IDOT has it on the list.
Oh, yes, I said you're not from Ross.
I tried not to laugh too hard. So they won't be putting a shelter.
I got says no to everything.
Right. So,
But they're gonna build 53.
without turnbouts this time.
I think I got that number.
But in our last meeting, we were talking about like our webpage upgrade that we were going to be working on very shortly. Talk to the mayor a little bit about that and what we need, what we're going to try and put in there. And our next meeting is going to be the 27th? Yeah.
27th.
Everybody welcome. So that's it.
Thank you. And you know, I started thinking about when the bus shelter went in, because that went in, gosh, I think Ted and I were trustees when George was still mayor when that bus shelter went in. You know, it's funny how these things come back at you after a while. And I think IDOT said no at that time to putting it across the street.
It sounds like
It's
But the bus stops there anyway. You just can't have a shelter.
yeah, right. I know those were so permanent. Okay, wetland and open spaces, Trustee Duberstein.
Yes, all these years, the committee has been working diligently on cleaning up open areas in the village, getting out the buckthorn and the honeysuckle around Banbury Lake, opening up the views to ponds around the village, especially ones that have a lot of traffic that they can be seen easily. And I'm happy to say...
You mean animal traffic? Or you mean traffic going by?
No, people walking and seeing. People found that there were ponds they didn't even know that we had, so.
Gotcha, okay.
We've accomplished that quite well. And now I'm happy to say that instead of just cleaning out, we're now going to start putting in flowers and other things, assuming the budget doesn't get tampered with anymore between now and the final passage. You should be seeing some pretty additions to the village this year. And speaking of PACE, the seniors are having a representative from PACE come to their April 3rd meeting to talk about the services available. So anyone who has someone 62 or older in their household is welcome to come and find out about it. And we're hoping to have some extra flyers that can be kept here in the village for people who can't make the meeting to find out about the services available through PACE. And I'm an election judge, so I hope I see everybody from the village on Tuesday.
Jerry, are you available on that day?
One never knows.
Community relations, trustee Darren Oski.
Well, we had our meeting last month, right before the last village board meeting, and we had decided to send out emails to our previous Hainesville Fest sponsors and to see if we could get some early donations out of them. And I am pleased to announce that as of today, we currently have $2,050 already in sponsorship dollars for Hainesville Fest 2012. We will be, again, utilizing Kathy's clerk system and sending out letters to all of the surrounding businesses through all their contact information so that we can hopefully get even more sponsorships dollars than we did last year, because this year's Hainesville Fest is going to be a whole lot bigger and a whole lot more fun and for longer. So we're making plans with that. I'd like to thank Jackie Brunk for joining our committee, a resident who, like anybody else, everybody out there is more than welcome to attend our meetings, come voice your opinion, and share with us any ideas you might have.
Terrific. That's exciting news. Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Okay, we will move on to business. First item up is the draft of the estimate of revenue for May 1st, 2012 through April 30th, 2013. Kelly, you get the floor on this one?
Yeah, I'll take the floor on this one. This is the proposed estimate of revenue that the village anticipates in receiving in the fiscal year starting May 1st, 2012, ending April 30th, 2013. Basically, it just gives you the proposed revenue per line item that we feel we will be getting.
And it is an estimate.
It is an estimate.
And we're looking at a total of approximately $2,850,443. We won't have concrete, we won't have concrete numbers until, well, we hope later this month. We'll find out from on real estate taxes.
So we just wanted to present this to the board at this point. It's not up for adoption yet. It'll be up for adoption at the second meeting of March.
Quick question, Kelly, what's the grant proceeds in parentheses generators?
Got it. There was a budget request to buy 2 emergency generators, one for this building and one for the public.
Natural gas generators. Okay.
But the reason it's on there that way is we had to cover the possibility of purchasing it, but we will not purchase them unless we get the revenue through grants.
Okay. No, that's why it just, it was on
No
the
problem.
Thank you.
Any further questions on the estimate of revenue discussion? Okay, let's move on to the draft of the budget for May 1st, 2012 through April 30th, 2013.
Budget, as you know, we've been going through the process since December. There have been cuts across the board. And we will not, well, let me establish a definition for the board tonight, at least the definition I'm working under. A deficit budget, via my definition, is one that there are more expenses than revenue. Our budget this year, for the first time since most of us have been elected, our expenses will exceed revenues. It doesn't mean that we're broke, we do have money in the bank. One of the first things we're doing with the budget, the appropriation, let's leave it at that for the budget part of the discussion. We'll be spending more than we take in. I'll explain more when we talk about the appropriation next.
I hope so.
I'd like a little history. Kelly, did you have anything to add?
No, covered it all. Basically, the difference between the budget and the appropriation ordinance is the budget is what we will go by. The appropriation ordinance is legally required to pass within the first fiscal year of the new year, which we, last year and this year, we were passing it prior to the start of our fiscal year. And that gives us the legal authority to spend money.
I'll just go ahead and explain what I hold back. Our estimate of revenue is, as I said, $2.8 million. That is about roughly $130,000 more than we have in our expenditures. Our budget is, let me back up, I'm trying English.
I'm going to jump in a minute.
Revenue is about $2.8 million. Expenditures are about $134,000 more. That's the first step. And a lot of that has to do with the major project that we'll be handling, and that is the water tank. We are going to take that $133,000 out of saved MFT funds. This is money that's been set aside, it's in the bank, and it's restricted to particular projects. So that is savings, but we'll spend that. The appropriation is $3.1 million, and that is an additional about $124,000 over what the requests are. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm stumbling, but I am. In the past 2 years, we have set aside 5% of our revenue for reserves in all the major accounts. Whatever we came up with for budget requests, we chopped those by additional 5% in the last 2 years, and we set that money aside just in case. This year, we could not trim enough legitimately to establish that 5% reserve. So what we're doing is appropriating more funds out of our savings so that we will be legally able to spend in case of an emergency. We're appropriating an additional 5% to cover what we used to do through reserve. Now, for these 3 accounts that we have reserved, will be in the street fund, public works, and the general admin fund. Those monies cannot be spent without either the mayor's or my signature. And here's an example of how that could possibly work. Let's say that any one of our committees or our public works, excuse me, has a line item of $10,000, 2 $5,000 projects. If project 1 ends up costing $6,000, that doesn't mean that we're automatically going to touch the reserve to give an additional $1,000 for project 2. What it means is that you have $4,000 for project 2, and you can request of the mayor or the board, because we have final approval, additional money out of reserve, or you could trim the project. That money is there, it's a backstop, it's a safety net. It is not there just to make up because one other budget or one other project happens to run more expensive than we thought. I hope that's somewhat clear.
The one thing that I just want to add that, to be clear, particularly for our residents and businesses in Hainesville out there, is that our budget from an operating standpoint, we are operating the village well within our revenue. We are not going over by any means in operational expenses. But there are a couple of capital projects, such as repainting the water